Hello, fellow translators. So today I wanted to talk to you about emails and about a couple things, specifically dealing with potential clients and potential jobs and the emails that you have to send out. Because I received a couple questions. In fact, I've been meaning to get to this for a while because I received some questions a while ago having to do with this. And because usually what happens when you're applying for jobs, you're kind of working the numbers. And so you apply for many different jobs. And you also, if you're signed up on Translators Cafe, Pros, Upwork, all those, you might hear from companies who send out emails, usually not only to you, but to anyone in your language combination, say, hey, we're looking for translators who can do this, who's available. So you need to reply pretty quickly because you're competing with everyone else, and it needs to be written quite well, and so you need to be sure that you don't have any grammar mistakes or anything like that, because after all, you're a translator. And and because you want to try to get hired, like you're working the numbers, and it's always a probability thing, and so you never know. But you kind of want to get up there, and this can be very hard for several reasons. First of all, I've already made a video about how English is important, even if English isn't one of the languages that you work in. Many times the correspondence is all in English, and so you really need to have good English. Now, you can have some grammar mistakes or something if English isn't one of your languages. But even there, at least for that first communication, it just really gives a much better impression if you have good English. So, I've mentioned this before, how it actually is probably worth it to have someone. Well, first of all, what's worth it is to have a standard letter that you send out. And I know I've talked about this before, where you have a standard letter that anytime you have a job, potential job or anything like that, you can send it out. Now, you can personalize this letter. Obviously, you should customize it. Dear whoever ever. I'm writing an application or regarding your job of blah, 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 blah. Then maybe a line, like if it's a financial translation, maybe talk about your financial stuff. Like for me, I have a line where I talk about my financial experience. Then I have more general experience. And then I would, maybe add something personal at the bottom as well. And so that's usually what I recommend. Have a standard template where you can kind of fill in the blanks to customize it here and there and then send that out. Now, another thing I recommend is to have someone read over it. Have someone whose first language is English. At least read over it. Make sure it sounds like fluent English and so it flows well. Because you really are hurting your chances if you send something out that sounds like choppy English. Especially if English is one of the languages, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Even if you're not translating into English, people still look at it that way. But even if English isn't one of the main languages that you're dealing with, for some reason, so much correspondence is in English that they kind of just assume it will sound good, especially for that first contact. And so I think it really is worth it having someone who's native in English at least look over email, your standard template email that you would send out anytime there's a job. Now, the other good thing about having a standard template is that you don't need to rewrite it every single time that you have a new job. And, presumably, as soon as you get a request, you can reply right away. And this ties into a couple things that I've mentioned. I've also mentioned you shouldn't let email ruin your day, and you shouldn't keep email there open all the time. But if you do check email 2-3 times a day, then you want to be able to respond right away to any request that's there, because otherwise you're going to lose out. People put up requests. At least what happens with me when I put a request online, I kind of put it up and then I let it go. I don't check right away who replies right away. So you don't need to be the first one, but you do kind of want to be within a half day. And so I would definitely try, if you are making sure that you're not always on email and stuff like that, which one is a completely different thing, but I do recommend. What I would recommend is to have these standard templates, because it makes it really easy to respond right away. You respond, you customize a bit, boom. Again, another email, you paste it, customize it a bit for that person, boom. And you can send them out pretty quickly and then wait for responses and see how that goes. Usually I recommend replying like that. Now, a couple of the questions I've gotten have to do with, one was a suggestion. I got a suggestion here. I want to make sure I get some of the names right, because this is from a while ago, but that's why I've been meaning to get it. From Joanna Sintra Araujo. I know I'm probably pronouncing it completely incorrectly, and I apologize. But and she mentions that she uses the Grammarly app. I haven't used Grammarly. I've seen the commercials for it, and I have heard good things. And says that Grammarly app I found the Grammarly app. It corrects grammar, simple things, of course, and spellings. I'm using it right now, and it can be very useful for those emails. That's probably true. And so I think feel free to try it. Feel free to check out Grammarly. I have no idea about it. I've never used it myself, but I know it is a help, at least for English language, that you can add it as an add-on, I think, to your email or stuff like that, and automatically it goes and looks for not only corrections for mistakes, but better ways to say things and suggestions of what you might like. So yeah, definitely feel free to check that out for correspondence in English. And but yeah, I would have your standard first, at least the first customized email, looked over by someone who's native. And then what else was there? Yeah, and so the other question was by Deborah Branco, and she was the one talking about, you say you shouldn't let email dictate our day, but how are we supposed to deal with the agency email sent to multiple translators at the same time? That gives you only a few minutes to accept the assignment, or else you lose it. Like I mentioned, I don't think it's a few minutes. I really don't think people operate that way. They might if it's a really urgent job or something like that, but I've talked before about urgent jobs. I think unless you're really desperate, you shouldn't try to get them, because urgent jobs usually mean a lot of complications and things can get messed up. Almost every single time I've had problems, they've been with urgent jobs, because it usually means somewhere along the chain there isn't organized and, something along those lines. Anyway, I'm honestly hoping that's just the initial phase of the process of becoming a translator, but I'd like to hear you talk about it. So yeah, and so that's usually how I feel. I think you can get by with just checking email 2 to 3 times a day. That's usually what I tried to do. But I liquidate all the emails right away. I figure out what to do with them, and it really helps having that template. So if there are any potential jobs, translations, stuff like that, you can send the email out right away to as your application for it. Let's see if there was anything else, because I wanted to touch on these email things in the whole video. To address these things about sending emails to prospective clients, and the way to go about that. And I know I go into more detail, definitely in the course, and I have some other videos where I talk a bit more in detail about what to write exactly and stuff like that. And I won't go into it. The main thing is, obviously you want to put whatever's most impressive about yourself up top, and don't use the templates that certain sites have templates like pros.com and stuff like that. Don't use those, because you don't want to sound like everyone else. When these companies are receiving 20 different emails, you want to kind of stand out in a way. That's why you put your most impressive thing first. I don't care what it is, but if you worked for a famous company, you went to a well-known school, you're accredited from, whatever it might be, something that kind of catches the eye, that's what you want. If you had a well-known client, or you worked as a paralegal, something like that. Those things always, whatever it is that stands out the most, that's the first thing you put. And that was pretty much it. Don't have English as their native language. That's the main language for the translation market, at least from my Brazilian perspective. Yeah, and like I said, English is the main language in correspondence, and so that's why you really do have to deal with English. And so yeah, have someone read over your first template of the email. Use Grammarly. Let me know how it is. I've never tried it before, but whatever you can do to make the English sound good. And again, because I receive emails like this all the time, and I've talked about it before. I've done videos where I show the emails I receive as an agency. So look those up, and because you might be amazed. But I'm amazed at how often I find so many mistakes on these emails of people who even say they translate with English, who obviously have a lot of problems with English. And so, just make sure that that's decent. And I think just following those methods, it should make it decent enough. You have a template that you make sure is good. You can just fill in the blanks. Use Grammarly for any other correspondence, that happens after that. And honestly, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, it definitely helps to have something like that, because otherwise you're shooting yourself in the foot. When these people receive 20, 30 different applications for one job, the quickest way to get rid of someone is if it sounds like choppy English, or they don't understand what's going on, and they eliminate those right away. And so yeah, hopefully you found this useful, and hopefully it answers some of these questions that I received a while ago about using English in the emails, and how to go about that, and how to reply to the emails. Don't forget to click thumbs up if you found this useful. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. If you want to leave a comment, please feel free. And once again, I know I've mentioned this off and on, but if you put in your language combination, like EN to ES or whatever it is, and then the comment, that way you can get a feel for the other people and what language combinations there are there. Because I'd like it also if you guys talk to yourselves as well and communicate with yourselves. and help each other out as well. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you found it useful. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.